All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you are new here. Thank you guys so much for joining me today and for waiting patiently, as always, for the intro to finish up there. I hope everybody is doing well on this Monday. Guys, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do, we have over 100 people here already, which is great to see. Take a moment and hit that like button if you... I see you, unknown. I see you. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Yeah, the Elder Scrolls official X account posted Oblivion is tomorrow. So, yeah, everybody, or at least a lot of people, I should say, were expecting a shadow drop for Oblivion today, and that clearly is not happening. But they did officially announce its existence today, and the reveal is going to be tomorrow. And so you do have to wonder, is the shadow drop happening tomorrow? I guess we'll find out. But I think a lot of people are just happy to see that it's been officially announced. But yeah, we also had last night episode 2 of The Last of Us Season 2 on HBO. I'm not sure how many of you guys watched it. I did watch it. V2, you're saying you couldn't handle that episode? It was intense? Yeah, maybe later in the stream we can do like a spoiler discussion. Ray, you haven't watched it yet? Okay. Yeah, guys, be careful with spoilers. I mean, if you played the game, or you even know what happens in the game, there's not much that can really be spoiled, but they change a couple things around. They certainly change a couple things around. But the main topics of discussion today are going to be, once again, about this portable PlayStation system that is seemingly in development at Sony right now. We are getting more leaked information about what we can expect with this PlayStation handheld, and I think it's really interesting because it's clear that this is happening, right? Previously, we heard rumors that Sony was considering it, but now it's on track. It's coming, probably not directly at the launch of the PlayStation 6, but not too long after, kind of like what we saw with the PlayStation Portal. So it's real. And I want to go over some of the new information that we're getting and just kind of have a general discussion about it once again. We are going to be talking about Oblivion Remaster as well. But something else I want to discuss is pretty much the craziness that is new game releases this week. There are a lot of games releasing this week. The gates of Oblivion have been opened again, boys. Yeah, people are very excited about this. I guess it makes sense, right? I was having a hard time believing that they were just going to flat out shadow drop this game without even an announcement. Like, just boom, here you go. By the way, guys, Oblivion Remastered is available for purchase. You played both games and you just feel like the show won't give the same experience? Ray, no, I'm actually going to walk back on that for now. I just want my main focus to be on YouTube at the moment. I do apologize for that or the inconvenience. But yeah, I have to just kind of focus down right now for multiple reasons. Am I going to be streaming Oblivion tomorrow? Well, I have to admit that this is not a game I plan on buying or playing. Mainly because, you know, it's worth talking about because this is clearly going to be huge for both, I would say, Microsoft and Sony, because apparently it's going to release on PS5, but it's huge for Elder Scrolls fans. But I just don't see myself playing it, man. I've never been into Bethesda's RPGs, and I don't want to just like pretend all of a sudden like, oh yeah, I'm excited to play Oblivion. Like I would flat out be lying. Truthfully, like I would be lying if I'm like, I'm excited to play this. Now I understand the idea of maybe giving it a chance, but I don't know. It's doubtful. What I will tell you guys is don't get your hopes up. Yeah, Garrett, I did watch The Last of Us HBO episode 2 for season 2. I watched it last night with my wife, and it was an episode, Garrett. It was an episode. I immediately went on Twitter after after the episode to see some of the reactions and what people were saying, and well, I do that after every episode, but yeah, it was intense to say the least. Yeah, guys, if you could please take a moment and hit that like button. It helps the streams. It helps get the streams out there in YouTube's algorithm so we can bring new people on board here. Sorry, I just joined. Any rumors on when the Oblivion Remaster gets dropped? Um, well, it was officially announced by Bethesda that the reveal is happening tomorrow. So when it comes to when it's going to release, I'm going to make a prediction right now, and that prediction is that they're going to announce it tomorrow and then shadow drop it tomorrow. Like as soon as they're like, it sounds like they're doing a little event for it almost. I think they're going to shadow drop it, like, and you can go buy it right now. Uh oh yeah, the member goal isn't up for some reason. Hold on, let me see if I can fix that. Yeah, guys, if you enjoy the content here on the channel, if you enjoy the streams, the discussions, consider supporting the channel directly. Let's see if this works. You can become a channel member. Oh, there we go. You become a channel member. You can gift memberships. You can donate a super chat. You can drop a direct donation. All of these different ways in which you can support help a lot. So I can only do this because you guys make it possible. So big shout out to anybody who drops direct support. Where did I see the leak about the handheld? It's actually coming from Kepler L2 once again, who this is an extremely reliable insider when it comes to stuff like this, where he's giving a little bit more insight into what's going on with this portable PlayStation system that is seemingly going to be coming out next generation. Yeah, apparently the Oblivion Remaster is going to be like 120 gigabytes. Yeah, Hanzo, he is legit. He is. So let's start here with Oblivion, just because this is what we have an immediate update on. So let me. Insider Gaming reports it has finally happened. Bethesda Game Studios has confirmed that Oblivion Remastered is real and that it's being revealed in full tomorrow. This breaking news came by way of a post on social media dropped by Bethesda just minutes ago. This is the first official confirmation we've had that the game even exists. The team dropped an image on social media with the emblazoned 4, indicating that all will be revealed tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. So that's actually an hour before I normally go live. So I might be a little bit late to covering this, but it'll maybe be better because we'll have all the info out there. Who knows? Maybe it'll be like an hour-long event, and as soon as I go live, that's when it gets shadow dropped. But it says here, Oblivion Remastered has been the talk of the town for a good couple of weeks. It has been a bizarre time with millions of gamers worldwide being focused on this game that has never been revealed. The marketing campaign from Bethesda Game Studios has been non-existent until now. So yeah, if you go check like the Gaming Leaks and Rumor subreddit, I mean, that's all you see are different rumors and leaks about this game. And now we have it officially confirmed it's real. Yeah, I mean, the assumption is it's going to be a day one drop in the Game Pass on top of having a physical version for both PlayStation and Xbox. The marketing materials did leak and it showed a physical version for Xbox. So if they're doing a physical version for Xbox, they're no doubt doing a physical version for PS5. But if they are doing a shadow drop, I mean, that might be a way to kind of entice people to buy it digitally immediately. That kind of FOMO, also with surprise. Oh my god, you guys want an Oblivion playthrough? Ooh. Ooh. I don't know about that one, man. That's pushing it. That's pushing it. Unreal Engine making the size that big. The best part of Oblivion is the music. What's up, Angry Whale Watcher? You're oblivious to Oblivion. It has never been for me. Hanzo, I'm with you on that one. Yeah, I'm like kind of, I don't know, I'm excited for people who are excited for it. You know what I mean? It's one of those situations where I see so many people like kind of shocked that this is actually happening and feeling very excited about it. It's like, that's cool. You know, it's one of these things where it's peculiar, I would say, the way that it's kind of rolling out, where up until today with the official announcement, it's just straight up like, oh yeah, here it is, it's real, we're gonna reveal it tomorrow. Like, oh, okay. Unholy Mayhem, a member for 10 months. Thank you for that, buddy. He says, MBG, we want that Oblivion playthrough, please. Why are you guys gonna do this to me? Why are you gonna do this to me? I mean, there's so many games coming out this week, though. Why does it have to be Oblivion? Hold on one second. I forgot to set a super chat goal. There we go. I will set a super chat goal. We'll do 5. Broccoli Rob says, don't. Baby steps playthrough. Oh, geez. I don't know that I would do a baby steps playthrough. Illegal Monkey, I'm refocusing on YouTube for right now. Yeah, I do apologize for the inconvenience on that. I know it's annoying. I have my reasons, but yeah, I'm trying to focus up, I guess. Yeah, focus up right now. But now you guys are stressing me because you're like, yo, you got to play Oblivion. I mean, maybe I would be more receptive to trying out Oblivion when it drops if there weren't so many other games coming out. I think that's the problem. I've been talking about this, and it's kind of part of the topics that we're going to discuss today. And it's that this is an insane week for game releases, man. Gavin says I'll unsub. Wait, Gavin, are you saying you're going to unsub if I do play it or if I don't? Gavin's not playing around, dude. Unholy Mayhem says he's hyped. He's more hyped for Oblivion than GTA 6. Really? Wow, that's impressive. Gavin's saying he's going to unsub if I do play it. No, I know. I know. I know nobody's actually serious. Don't worry. I understand. You were just watching my video talking about Oblivion. Yeah, so unfortunately, um, I can't do anything about. It's a good thing I made that the last topic of the video. I was covering the rumor that it was going to shadow drop today at 12, which is clearly not true because they just announced that they're going to be revealing it tomorrow officially. So it's unfortunate the timing of that, but you know, it is what it is. What are you going to do? You love the games talk yesterday. Yeah, we're going to be trying to do that more often, just generally talking about games. I mean, we do that, I would say, relatively frequently, but people do seem to enjoy that. I enjoy it too. It really depends on what's going on, any given week, any given day. But I'm glad you still enjoyed the video though. Yeah. I did see some people. So when it comes to the Oblivion remaster, some people were kind of complaining about the leaked screenshots, saying that they like removed too much of the color and they made it too like brown or gray or whatever. And I'm just curious for any Oblivion fans here who have seen these leaked screenshots. Do you agree with that? Do you feel that way? What's up, Dragon Knight? Laws, I'm not making that poll. No. I think that's just a little bit unfair. How much do you think it will cost? I'm assuming it's going to be $70. $80? Wow, that would be shocking. That would be unfortunate. If they come out and they're like, yeah, this is going to be $80, that's going to get a lot of backlash. I'm thinking it's going to be 70. That's my guess. They made the color palette more realistic. You don't mind the update? Yeah, it didn't look bad to me. I mean, it was kind of surprising because when I saw it, I was like, oh, yeah, I think that looks a lot better. That looks good. And then I saw a lot of people were reacting with like, oh, no, they ruined it, or they, they did a bad job. And I'm like, oh, huh. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that to be the way people were reacting to it. Well, no. I'm telling you, it's probably going to be a $70 game. If it's less than $70, I would be surprised. If it's more than $70, I would be even more surprised. I'm thinking it's just going to be 70. I did not see the new Doom trailer yet. No, I saw that they dropped it, I think last night sometime. I didn't watch it yet, though. The new Doom looks good. Yeah. Let's go over here to the PlayStation Portable, though. Let's go over some new information. This is being reported by WCCF Tech. They say the rumored portable PlayStation 6 will be able to run PlayStation 5 games without developer intervention, although a patch may still be needed for performance. On the NeoGAF forums, known leaker Kepler L2 revealed today that, as far as they know, the portable system has shader binary compatibility, so it should be able to run previous generation games without developer intervention. However, performance may not be great if games are left unpatched. Now, when they say previous generation, I believe they are talking about PlayStation 5 games, because the idea is this handheld is going to launch alongside or around the PlayStation 6. So by that point, when we talk about PS5 games, as crazy as it sounds, we're going to be talking about last generation games. But it continues here by saying a portable edition of the PlayStation 6 is said to be in the works alongside the standard home variant. While the systems have yet to be officially announced, we already know that they will be powered by AMD, like their two immediate predecessors. According to some recent rumors, also from Kepler L2, the portable edition of the next generation system by Sony will not be able to match the current generation base PlayStation 5, but will be more powerful than the Xbox Series S. And its system on chip will feature less than 40 compute units and has been designed to run at very low voltages. Now, the new information here that's important is the fact that devs don't have to go out of their way for this. And we have Dragonite coming in, dropping 5 membership gifts for you guys, kicking it off today. Dragonite, thank you so much for that, buddy. Let's get some W's in the chat for him, hopefully kicking off a member train. Yeah, guys, if we hit that 25 member goal, we'll feed Boss some treats. We do have a super chat goal as well. If we hit 5 super chats, 5 or higher, $5 or higher, we'll give Leia some catnip. What soundbite would you like, Dragonite? By the way, let me know. I was about to play one, but I'm like, you know what? I'll let you choose. But yeah, man, that's the big news about this handheld, which I think is actually reassuring news and good news. It's that devs are not going to have to go out of their way to make like second versions of their games in order for them to run PS5 games, that is, on this new portable PlayStation handheld system. I feel like that was the big thing that really kind of killed the Vita. My choice. All right, Dragonite. I'll give you I'll give you a Gopher scream. Because why not? When it's my choice, that's the one I like to choose. Or the Crazy Arnold. It's usually a tie between them. But yeah, we think about the PlayStation Vita, and PlayStation fans loved the Vita, and it did sell really well. I mean, Sony, I think, maybe was disappointed with the sales of the Vita. I think it sold like 30 million units. When you compare that to the sales numbers of other handhelds today, like very capable handhelds, not counting the Switch, that's actually very impressive. And it's unfortunate because the Vita was kind of positioned somewhat as a companion device with the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro, but the real problem was that they were not actually tethered together. You could do remote play on the Vita, which was cool, but games had to be natively built from the ground up for the PlayStation Vita, and this caused strain, right? This forced development studios to decide, do you want to make a PS4 game or do you want to make a PlayStation Vita game? And, you know, that's obviously, considering how well the PS4 did, most studios and most publishers are going to say, we're going to focus on the PlayStation 4 right now. What we're hearing with this PlayStation 6 portable device could be a game changer for Sony in the handheld space. And, them doing something that they've never been able to achieve before, maybe something that they've been working towards this whole time, but maybe now it's finally going to, come to fruition, where I imagine I buy a PlayStation 6 at launch and it's awesome, hopefully, right? I enjoy it for about a year, and then Sony announces the PlayStation 6 handheld, right? Or something like that. I don't know what they'll call it. Maybe they'll just call it the PlayStation Portable. You had the PlayStation Portal and then the PlayStation Portable, but it doesn't really matter what they call it. They'll announce this, they'll release it, and assuming I can afford it, I will also buy that. And the way they're going to sell this device is like, hey, you can obviously play all your games natively on cutting edge console technology on the PlayStation 6, but if you buy this companion handheld, you'll also have access to all of your PS5 games natively, some of which may be patched, some which might not be. Any game that's not patched, it can still run, but just maybe not as smoothly as it otherwise would if it was patched. So the only thing that the developer actually has to do is provide a little bit of extra effort, just a little bit, to, make sure it runs smoothly on the handheld. And then you'll be able to stream PlayStation 6 games. Obviously, you won't be able to play PlayStation 6 games natively. At least that's my assumption. I don't think that's going to be possible. The Play Switch, yeah, that's what they could call it. And this, to me, presents a really, I think, strong type of ecosystem for Sony to have going into next gen, where they are providing, I would say, solid options, right? Where, I mean, right now you have the PS5, the PS5 Pro, and the PS Portal. And I still haven't gotten a PlayStation Portal. I am going to at some point, but I have to admit that buying a native a handheld that can play games natively just is much cooler to me than the idea of buying a device that can only stream them, right? And you see what's going on in the handheld space, where we're seeing more and more like high-end handhelds, and they're proving to be very niche markets. And that, to me, is going to be the really interesting thing to observe whenever we get to the point where this PlayStation 6/5 handheld is revealed. A lot of these high-end premium handhelds have proven to not be big sellers, but they do have an audience, an enthusiastic audience. I'm going to be really curious to see if PlayStation can kind of change that, where the Switch 2 is obviously going to capture the majority of the handheld market, but it's also doing so with, I would say, decent capability, right? Good enough capability where, like, you're going to be able to play a game like Cyberpunk 2077 in handheld on the go. That's going to be a pretty big deal for the Switch 2, and no doubt that's going to be a huge selling point. So we do have to kind of ask this question, like, is this Sony maybe trying to eat into, or cut into, I should say, some of Nintendo Switch 2 sales, considering how well that's going to do? Because, yeah, it would be a really strange look, in my opinion, if Sony came out and they were like, well, hey, look at all these, well, presumably many of these PlayStation 5 games being able to run on the Switch 2, and we don't have anything to offer. But that presents another interesting question when it comes to this, this PlayStation portable device. By the time it releases, we don't know how much it's going to be, but what we can surmise is if it's going to basically play all PS5 games natively, it's going to be pretty damn powerful. It's going to be, I would assume, more powerful than the Switch 2, right? How much more expensive will it be from the Switch 2? And is Sony essentially going to try to position themselves as like, oh yeah, you can buy the Switch 2 if you want and have access to all of these third-party games. Some of them you might miss out on though, right? Because our device is more powerful. We can play all the PS5 games. The Switch 2, maybe it's going to miss out on some PS5 games. I don't know. I can't help but kind of go in this direction and wonder what type of impact this native handheld from Sony is going to have or not have on the market, because it's been a long time since we've seen Sony actually try to aggressively pursue this market. They seemingly gave up on it for a while, and I think now is the right time for them to start taking it more seriously. I do think that they're going to have something on offer to combat the Switch 2, even if it's not going to sell nearly as well. I think that they're going to have to do that. You think I bought the wrong device? I should have bought the Portal, not the VR set. Well, the Portal's much cheaper. I mean, I don't know that I necessarily regret buying PSVR 2, but I enjoyed my experiences with it. But yeah, I found that like I just don't have a desire to go back to it, you know? But the Portal's going to be next up at some point, and I'll be curious to see how that is. I don't know when I'm going to get it, but at some point I will, this generation. The native handheld is probably releasing with the PS5 or with the PS6, which would be 4 years from now. Well, that's what's interesting is we're getting this information, and this device is seemingly very far out. Well, I don't know. That's what's kind of weird. Like, enough is put together that we can get this leaked information, but I don't know. Is it going to be a full 4 years before it releases? What do I think made them change their minds? I'm assuming you're asking in the handheld space. I think it was the Portal. Yeah, I think the Portal was basically a test bed. They wanted to create a pretty cheap device, something that's not going to, like, if it fails, it's not going to be a big deal because it was pretty cheap to, R&D and put together. They wanted to just see how the market would react to a new PlayStation handheld. Even though the Portal is not a traditional native handheld, it's still a PlayStation handheld device. And I think Sony wanted to kind of measure, like, how's this going to do? And I think that they were very surprised that actually people really love it. Like, it actually found a much wider audience than I think they were anticipating. And so I think, they're like, okay, well, let's do it. Let's greenlight this more robust, powerful premium handheld device. That's my guess. By the time this portable console comes out, assuming it's launching with the PlayStation 6, it will already be halfway through the Switch 2's life cycle. That's a good point. Yeah. That is going to be interesting to witness. I mean, the big concern for me regarding it more than anything is the pricing. And that goes for the PlayStation 6 as well, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do if, like, is it going to be a $600 handheld? I mean, how's that going to? I mean, there are very expensive handhelds out there right now, but I don't know if PlayStation is going to, like, I don't know if they could find good success with an expensive premium handheld, but maybe they can. Who knows? We're going to find out. Gord, a member for 17 months. Thank you for that support, buddy. Says, I've owned PSVR 1 and a headset for my PC over the years and sold them both after a while. Sell that ish MBG. It's definitely not for everyone. Well, I don't know that I want to sell it. Um, it's just one of these things where even if I don't use it really anymore, I don't know. It's just kind of nice to. I don't know. I feel like I kind of want to collect it at this point. But there still may be a day, man. I don't want to say never. There may still come a day where maybe some kind of VR game is announced, and I'm like, wow, I have to play that. I have to try it. Maybe it'll be in a certain franchise or series where I'm like, oh, I need to. I know that's unlikely. I'm not anticipating that, but you know, I'll still kind of keep it around. But yeah, that's definitely true, Gord. VR is not for everybody. Certainly not. Star Wars Eclipse just tweeted. Oh, I forgot about that game. What did they post? Anything important? Oh, 19 hours ago, they say, hey there, it's been a while. Sign up for updates so you don't miss any exciting news about our next adventure. And the next Star Wars celebration is happening in Los Angeles between April 1st and 4th, 2027. And they say, wait, what? 2027? I had to like double check that wasn't a typo. And they said see you there. Like, wait, hold on. Did they just say they're not going to be showing their game off till 2027? That's so random. Wasn't there a rumor like maybe a year ago that Sony was eyeing a 2026 release for PS5? I bet this new administration, along with its tariffs, is changing those plans. There was never a rumor that Sony was aiming for 2026. I think you're getting it confused with Xbox. There were multiple rumors that claimed Xbox is targeting the release of their next gen console slash PC hybrid for 2026. Um, the most recent rumor from the Xbox side is now 2027. When it comes to PlayStation 6, the rumor has basically always been 2028. Some people assume 2027. But yeah, with what's going on right now, I mean, I'm sure it's to a degree affecting their plans, but to what degree is unknown. See you in 2 years, boys. That's kind of wild, though. They're like, see you there 2 years from now. Like, okay. What's interesting to me when we talk about the next generation PlayStation stuff is the fact that they have already pretty much settled on everything. They said like A0 tap out is going to be ready by like the end of this year, which I don't know if that means it's coming sooner than expected, but it sure sounds like it. Who said see you in 2 years? The official Star Wars Eclipse Twitter account, basically they reactivated their account and they responded to the next Star Wars event announcement. The next like big Star Wars event is happening in 2027 or something. And apparently it's normal. It happens every couple of years. And they were like, see you there. It's like, okay. Yeah, see you in 2 years. How would Microsoft benefit from this administration? Game Pass. That's how they would benefit. Yeah. I think that's fairly obvious. I mean, right now, everybody is afraid of not just the general cost of living going up even more, but if you're somebody who's involved in gaming, the price of consoles, the price of games, the price of accessories. We just saw Nintendo announce a price increase to all of their accessories for the Switch 2. People are afraid that this is going to be what happens, and it's unavoidable. There's nothing that can be done. And, it's going to price a lot of people out of games. And so Microsoft could kind of benefit from that, where it's like, hey, we have Game Pass, it's $20 a month. And look at all these games you could play on, like, not any device, but a lot of different devices, a lot of different ways to access it. So I could see them benefiting it, from that sense. But considering Microsoft is, going more third party and now becoming more reliant on third party sales, it could also have a deleterious and negative effect on them too, because, if the price of consoles goes up, chances are less people are going to buy consoles. You just noticed the cat. Yeah, Leia blends in really well. Like really, really well with the color of this cat tower. MBG fake PS5 gamer. You think I'm a fake PS5 gamer? Why am I fake? Why am I a fake PS5 gamer? You think Game Pass isn't going to stay $20? I don't think it's going to stay $20. I just don't know when exactly the price would go up, right? Eventually it's going to have to go up. That's what happens with these sub services. Am I getting Expedition 33 this week? Well, stay tuned. Maybe I already got it. Stay tuned. Explain yourself. Proceeds to not explain. You think Game Pass will one day be $40 to $50 a month? That would be crazy. I mean, they would have. I don't, I don't know that I could see it being that expensive. That would be a long time from now. I think the only time I could ever see it being that expensive is if Microsoft had like well over 100 million subscribers. I'm working with the FBI. When games are $150. Yeah, man, that's gonna be a bleak future. Hopefully that doesn't happen. A lot of people are gonna be priced out. Pretty much everybody at that point. I need to close some of these tabs. I don't know why they're all open like this. So you think games are going up to $80 to $100? They can still say it's cheaper. Yeah, that's true. That is true. They can still do that. MBG, why do they think Game Pass is a good deal? I did the math, and at $20 with $23.41 at checkout, the full year is $280. PlayStation Plus is basically doing the same thing, but at $173 at checkout. It's the day one releases from first party. That's what it is, Green Ninja. Um, I think it is subjective at the end of the day. One person sees all of Bethesda's, all of Activision's, and all of Microsoft's games dropping day one into the service on top of everything else that's already in there, and they say, wow, that's definitely worth $280 a year. Another person looks at that and says, I'm not interested in most of those games or a lot of those games. So that $280 a year doesn't seem worth it to me. It's highly subjective. This is why when we talk about subscription services, I always tell people you need to explore the catalog before you decide on where you want to play if you're choosing to play on a subservice, because the catalogs are different. And there's no denying that day one releases from Microsoft first party is a huge selling point, but you have to kind of evaluate what are those games, right? Are those games that you actually really want to play? Because the biggest misconception with Game Pass, and I still see this today, is people say, oh, I get to play these games for free. You're not playing anything for free. If you're excited to play many games at one time and you're paying $20 to access that or $280 for a year, then yeah, you could maybe be under the illusion that it's free or it feels like it may as well be free, but you're still paying. You're definitely still paying, you know? But that's why I say it always comes down to how good do those games seem to you? Like, do they seem worth it? Are those games you really want to play? Are those games that you would otherwise be buying? If not, you know, a subservice might not be for you. Lux with a $2 super chat says, can get 12 months of Game Pass for around $100 through CD keys. That sounds straight up illegal, bro. How is that? Hold on, though. How is that possible? That's like a $180 discount. Something doesn't sound, that sounds shady. Sounds like a W. It does, if it's true. But you can't deny it sounds a little bit shady. How is that possible? Yeah, I will say that Expedition 33 being day one on Game Pass is quite surprising to me. I wonder how that deal was made. Like, I wonder if the studio was maybe feeling nervous about their game, or if Microsoft just offered them a ridiculous amount of money. But I'm very surprised that that's a day one Game Pass drop. I think it's a $50 game as well, so it's a on the cheaper side. Game Pass can be free through Microsoft Reward Points. Oh, they still, yeah. Microsoft Reward Points. I think I saw my Microsoft account a while ago and I had a bunch of reward points on it. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know. And I could just use them. Yeah, I could like use them on Game Pass or something else. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I don't think I actually used them though. Lux, you're saying you have it stacked for 3 years. Well, that's the way to do it. I mean, we just saw the price increases for PlayStation Plus, and I saw people making jokes like suddenly those people who are stacking for 10 plus years don't seem so crazy anymore. And it's like, no, they don't. If you can afford it, and it's something you're going to want to stay sub to for many years to come, I think it makes sense. I don't do it that way, though. I never stack my subscriptions. I don't know why. I probably should have. But, what are you going to do? Microsoft is currently trying to lure as many players as they can, so they're throwing money left and right. If they get enough subs, they'll raise the price and offer less at that point. Well, I mean, yeah, it's all about leverage, right? That's the thing. It's all about leverage. It's kind of like Sony being in a position of strength where the reality for Sony is like, people have been very upset the past week and a half with the price increases, but it's like until people in very large quantities leave, it doesn't really matter. Like you may get a couple, it's like when I tell you guys, like I read Reddit posts and people freaking out saying they're done. And it's like, I don't know. It looks bad, but I like for all I know, it just means like they just lost 100 people. And in the grand scheme of things, when you're talking about millions of players, it's like, does that like how does that really impact Sony's bottom line? Like, does that make them be like, uh-oh? It would have to be something really, really significant and consequential. With how massive Virtuous Studios is, and MGS3 and Oblivion Remaster is already coming out very soon, it makes you wonder what remasters or remakes they might be working on now. Yeah, I was a little bit surprised to find out that Virtuous was the one doing the Oblivion Remaster because, I mean, geez, like, they're seemingly, full steam ahead with Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake. So, Yeah, they're a huge team, seemingly. Expedition 33 got that easy check from Game Pass because Xbox players don't play turn-based games. What's up, Corey? Virtuous could become the new Blue Point. They seem to have a bright future ahead. If they nail the Oblivion remaster, it looks like they're absolutely nailing the Metal Gear Solid Delta remake, from what I can tell. But if they also nail the Oblivion remaster, then yeah, I think they might have a very bright future ahead of them. And we have a direct donation from Perfect Image. Thank you for that, buddy. He says, "Hey MBG, happy holidays and anniversary. Why is the game? Well, thank you for that. Why is the gaming industry raising prices? Don't they need more than 1 million in sales? If they keep doing that, sales are going to cap." Well, there are many reasons. There are many reasons why the price of games and these services are going up. The biggest reason is that these companies are terrified of losing their momentum. Um, they're on an upward trajectory. You know, Sony's been climbing, Nintendo's been climbing. They've been getting great sales with their games, great hardware sales, but the cost of doing business is also increasing. So profit margins, at least on the side of Sony, profit margins are getting thinner. And there's this kind of need to thread that needle of we need to keep sales high, we need to keep interest high, we need to keep engagement high, but we also need to increase our profit margins. And that's a difficult needle to thread because it's like, yeah, one of the easiest ways to increase your profit margins is raise prices, charge more, right? But there's a huge risk there of like, are you gonna are you gonna diminish growth by doing that? And so, you know, I think next month is Sony's earnings, and it'll be the first time they're doing their earnings report with the new leadership. And I think they're also going to be doing their like big yearly like kind of roadmap or strategy for investors. And it's going to be really interesting to see what they have to say because I'm curious to see like has Sony seen any major dips in in PlayStation Plus, in console sales, in game sales, in overall engagement. That's going to be very telling because we are. I mean, to me, I feel like we're still in a peak year with the PS5. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but you know, people know that GTA 6 is coming, and Sony has some big heavy hitters dropping this year. So if they're coming out and they're like, yeah, I don't know, man, we're starting to dip. Gotta wonder why. But it's a balancing act. I feel like it's either higher prices or more developer layoffs. Well, yeah. I mean, the way these businesses operate these days, dude, they're not going to usually anyway make any decisions that are going to seriously cut into their profit margins. You can understand why, but the reality for Sony is that the PS5 generation is by far and away the most profitable, successful generation they've ever had. It's been significantly better than the PS4 generation. It makes the previous generations with the PS1, 2, and 3 look like a joke, comparatively speaking. But the idea is Sony's not just going to sit there and say, well, I guess this is good enough. We'll just maintain this. The idea is Sony wants to see if they can go further. And this is how these corporations operate. You know, like if there's more money on the table that they can scoop up, they're going to go for it. If there's more growth, can the PlayStation 6 generation be even better than the PS5? That's what they're shooting for. Yeah, and that's, you know, that has to do with investors. You know, the pressure from investors, and there's always that kind of argument of like how much power should investors really have? How much should these companies really kind of cave to that? It's give and take. You know, it's constant tug of war. where you're saying F politics. Yeah, I just tuned out, man. Honestly, I've just gotten to a point where I can't keep up with this anymore, and everything is just every day there's something new that I have to be worried about, and I'm like, you know what? Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I don't have, there's nothing I can do about it, you know? So we'll see where it goes. Yeah, that's true, Capono. You're saying always got to show growth. I mean, there is this obsession with growth, and it's the capitalist market, man. You know, it's the way it is. It's like, when is enough enough? And I think what Sony needs to focus on is not burning any more goodwill. I think that, I don't think that they've been doing as bad as people make it sound, but there's just no denying that people are getting a bit annoyed with like the price increases, and they want to see, they want to see Sony put a greater emphasis and focus on like getting fans excited, and really kind of hyping up what they have rather than just like, here's another blog post, here's another blog post about PS Plus going up again. But some people were saying that maybe the reason why they're doing this is because it's going to be, getting the bad news out of the way now, so that way they can kind of pave the way for a nice big show coming up. I don't know. PS numbers only look good because they're overcharging for everything. That's a good point. I mean, yeah, there's no denying that with the PS5 generation, they basically doubled up. The PS5 is not soaring ahead of the PS4. It's not like there's a whole new audience that they've tapped into with the PlayStation 5 console. That's not the case. They have been extracting more money from current customers, whether that be through more accessories, more premium accessories, like, price increases with stuff like PlayStation Plus, games being a little bit more expensive, all that stuff, the PS5 Pro being very expensive, all these things that kind of facilitate just, again, naturally raising profit margins. But can they maintain that if there's really no clear path forward? Where if there's no clear path forward, where like, how do we like go from 80 to 100 million PS players to getting like 180 million? It's like, I don't know that there's a path for that. So the only other option is, well, we got to get more, from the customers who are here. Like, we got to try to. You tried to ignore it, then he turned on Canada, not our best neighbor. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, dude. I've been seeing stuff about that pop up with the US basically just being like, "Yo, Canada, F you," and it's like, what? I don't understand. Like, why is this happening so suddenly? It seems a bit overly aggressive for like no reason, but yeah. What's up, Gaming Survivor? Love how the stream turns into economics and politics. Well, not all the time, Yesterday all we did was talk about games, dude, for 2 hours straight. It's hard to say what direction it's going to go in sometimes. Lux, you're saying here they're charging more for things, so equals more money. No PlayStation has reached the sales of the PS2. You think Sony would look at that and say why? I'm sure they do, because yeah, that's a fact, Lux. The PS5. So Jim Ryan, when he retired, he said that he believes the PS5 generation is going to be the most successful PlayStation generation ever. And he's probably correct in terms of money, right? In terms of money made. But there is seemingly an upper limit of like, how much money can you really extract from the same customers before you reach that limit of like, we're tapped out, dude. Like, even your most enthusiastic hardcore players are like, all right, come on. I don't have the answer to that. Sony's gonna find out at some point. But yeah, when it comes to the idea of like, can the console ever be as successful as the PS2 was again? Because if a future PlayStation console could reach the heights of the PS2, that would signify there's actually further growth here, to to be had. But yeah, it's the PS2 is the high watermark. Same with the Switch One. It might end up passing the PS2. I don't think the console market is in some kind of danger or it's bad. It's just I think the console market is tapped out. I think that a bit of a ceiling has been reached where it's like, listen, that's not a bad thing in and of itself. Where it's like we're only selling 100 million consoles. Like that's crazy. That's really good. Like that's very very good. You know, the problem is like, well, we can't we can't really report growth to our investors if we are kind of stagnant here. Like this is the ceiling. This is as high as it goes. So Sony's in this kind of awkward position where, like I've said before, they are afraid. They are afraid of eroding what they've built with the PlayStation console because it wasn't easy to build up to. Even though a bit of a ceiling has been reached, seemingly that could change, but I don't think it's going to. Even though a bit of a ceiling has been reached, it's the whole notion of like, well, how do we grow beyond that? And it's like it seems like one of the only ways is it comes at the risk of like eroding what you built with the PlayStation console. So there's this really, it's almost like a high wire act, where this is why Microsoft ended up in the position they're in right now, where they're like, yeah, so we made some really intentional decisions over the course of the Xbox One, Xbox Series generation that essentially got us to a point where we completely eroded our own console. But at the same time, it's like, well, now we don't have to worry about that anymore. So let's just go third party and get higher profit margins through game sales and live service titles. But it's easier, I guess, for Microsoft to be okay with eroding that when it's like, well, how many consoles did you sell? Less than 30 million or just a little over 30 million? That's a far cry from we sold over like 110 million. If you sell over 110 million consoles, you're going to be much more hesitant to make any decision that could hurt that. Matt Piscatella did an interview with Kind of Funny explaining this not too long ago. Maybe I'll have to check that out. My view of the matter is Sony, like I said, they want the best of both worlds. Whether they're going to achieve that or not remains to be seen. They are going to have to be extremely skillful to achieve that. When I say the best of both worlds, what I'm really describing here is Sony wants to continue to maintain their success that they have found in the console space. They want to continue to extract higher profit margins from that console space, from that, from the PlayStation Store, from customers that are loyal to PlayStation and, entrenched in PlayStation. And they want to do that while simultaneously finding ways to grow outside of the console ecosystem that they built without that infringing on the console at all. And that's never been done. To be clear, that has never been done. Microsoft tried it. It didn't work. Nintendo never tried it because, well, they never walked away from true exclusivity. Sony's the only one that is seemingly going to try to thread this needle. And that's why I feel like the future is so uncertain for them, because it's like, yeah, nobody's done this before. Is Sony gonna be the first to do it? And what does that look like? How does that how many PS5s have been sold? I think it's at like 75 million. Hold on. Leo Jimmy, you're saying do what? I'm talking about the idea of Sony being able to achieve something that no console manufacturer has achieved before, which is basically maintaining extremely high levels of success in the console space, even if you have reached a bit of a ceiling, but maintaining that peak and staying at the peak while simultaneously growing outwards and expanding the brand and the business beyond that and growing it successfully. Doing those two things, it does really seem like one thing kind of comes at the expense of the other. And that's what we've seen time and time again. So, can Sony be the first one to properly navigate that and kind of balance on that high wire? They're trying. They're trying to, and so far I think it's been successful. That's kind of the interesting thing to observe is like this entire generation we've talked about like, oh, Sony's putting games on PC. Games like Helldivers are killing on PC, and yeah, they're doing movies and TV shows and all this stuff, and yet PS5 sales have maintained a very good pace. Like they're still on pace with PS4. So there's been very, very little downside to anything they've done. But this is where it's like, they're now at a crossroads where it's like, do we continue to just kind of keep doing it the way we've been doing it and hope it just steady, slow, steady growth? Or do we try to push the envelope a little bit further? It's a tough one. It's a tough one for them, and I'm going to be really interested to see how it plays out. But most of our questions will be answered either by the end of this generation or going into the next generation. But obviously, I'm rooting for the more traditional console space. Like that's where I prefer to play. I love, I have a PS5 Pro. I love it. I don't game anywhere else. I have no desire to game anywhere else. I'm completely satisfied with PlayStation, and I want to continue to see that succeed. I don't want to. It's not that I care about console sales in the sense of like, oh my god, my PlayStation sales are down. Like, no, it's not like that. It's just I don't want to see it shrink, because if you see the console space shrink, we've literally seen over the course of many different generations like what happens when a console install base shrinks down small enough. Bad things can happen. Like it can collapse, and I don't want to see that. Luckily, we're nowhere near that. What are you doing letting that Bro, there's no way Corey just called Leia a wench. Hold on. I'll fix this. Really, dude? You just straight up leave. Okay. Don't act. They've already seen you guys sleeping on that tower together. She's totally camo. Boss, come on. Bro, that's so funny. I don't think anybody's ever called Leia a wench before. Gaming Survivor says, MBG, I wouldn't entertain the opinions of bitter echo chambers. Excuse me. PlayStation continues to do well and will even do better next gen without competition. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. As of right now, we haven't seen any type of decline. Even with how uncertain everything is right now, seemingly things are very much going well for Sony. I am very curious to see what their next earnings reveal. The next earnings report could be very telling. But, I feel like it's kind of what you're saying here, Gaming Survivor. For the past 2 years, it's been every earnings report, there's maybe going to be some really bad news. Or, I mean, even when we got the earnings after Concord, like, Sony had to awkwardly acknowledge, like, yeah, Concord was a complete train wreck disaster shit show, but everything's still pretty good somehow. Like, everything's still fine. Like, they weren't even just saying that either. Like, no, like it could have been better, but it happens, I guess. That's what's kind of funny is like you're just kind of waiting for the other shoe to fall, and that's how that saying goes, right? or drop, I mean, and it still hasn't. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. You can't really, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like I've been watching people bet against PlayStation, not the entire generation, but starting in like 2022. Uh, and just from that point forward, it's getting worse and worse. I've been seeing people bet against PlayStation this entire for at least half of this generation, and it's not to say that they haven't made some mistakes and things haven't went awry. They certainly have, but generally speaking, it's like if you're waiting for them to like blow up or something, like that's definitely not happening. They're still doing very well, and most customers seem to be pretty satisfied. Like I kind of get what you're saying with the echo chambers a little bit, where I've seen so many people be like, "This is the worst generation ever," and I'm like, "Well, why don't you go somewhere else where it's better then?" And the thing is, they won't, because it's like if there was something else better out there right now, you would be there. And so it's just like I don't know, I don't know what to tell those people. Like if you're really not enjoying PlayStation that much, like there are more options than ever before. I mean that. Like there are truly more options than ever before. If you're that discontent at this point, like Sony's going to do what they have to do for their business. Not saying that means you should just stick around if things get bad enough, but it's pretty simple. Like, do you like the games that Sony's putting out or not? Are you getting enjoyment out of this generation, or do you get enjoyment gaming on your PS5? And it's kind of funny because like I mentioned in my video a couple days ago, people leaving like comments being like, "I'm switching to PC or whatever. I'm going to PC," and it's like many others responded by pretty much pointing out like most people don't do that. You know, like most people are not just going to get up and go to PC, because the moment they try to, they realize, oh, that's actually pretty expensive and very different from PlayStation or from console gaming. And so it's, I don't know, the only thing I will say, Gaming Survivor, is that I am curious to see how Sony operates in the coming years, knowing that Microsoft is basically now a partner and not a threat. That's going to be really interesting to witness, because it's never been like that before. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Sony has operated previously as if Microsoft isn't a threat, like with the PS2, going up against the original Xbox. But I mean, now you know, they've been through multiple generations now, and Microsoft's just like, yeah, we can't do this. Lux, you're saying the casuals are not complaining; they are gaming. That's true. Yeah, they're probably gaming on those live service titles that suck up everybody's time. Think people's bitterness blinds them because they just don't want PlayStation to keep winning. LOL. They block out reality. I mean, and that's the thing, man. Like, I've enjoyed over the years having these conversations about, you know, who's winning and who's doing better than who. And you guys know, like, it's been a hell of a ride, man. But at this point, it's like I don't know, dude. I'm literally playing Forza Horizon 5 on my PS5 Pro. And I was just I was like thinking about that. I'm like it's just like kind of this moment of like what happened? Like, wow, that escalated quickly. Like that like all collapsed quickly or something. I don't know. I just had this weird realization that like I'm sitting here playing this Forza Horizon 5 on my Pro. What happened? Like it feels like just yesterday I was sitting there shaking my fist at Microsoft, being like, "Why are you buying Activision? This is weak. Make better games," And it's just like we go from that, and they're like, "So do you want to play Forza Horizon 5 on your PS5 or what?" It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean, bro? Like, I mean, yeah, but that's not That's not how this is supposed to work. Strange times indeed. We have Titus here saying, what are they gaming on, Lux? Phones or consoles? And then really quick, before I read Josh's super chat, Lux responds by saying, Titus, I'm talking about PlayStation. Most gamers on it are casual. It is true that a lot of the player base on PlayStation play these black hole live service games. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. But that's why Sony's so desperate to have their own, because they're like, bro, we like the 30% we're getting from Fortnite. We like the 30% we're getting from NBA 2K and Call of Duty, but we really like to get 100%. And Titus says fair. Josh Z with a $10 chat. Really liking that badge, bro. He says games have interesting problems now where A, people make their opinions before even playing, and B, gameplay is alarmingly recycled. Alarmingly. Josh, I just want to take a moment to appreciate you using the word alarmingly. I feel like I haven't heard that word in a long time. And he says, this is the least I have played games in my whole life, and that's sad. Yeah, I do think that some people are falling a little bit out of gaming, because what you're saying is true. Like, it's when I watch these gaming events where they're like, we have 50 games, I glaze over, because I'm just like, it's too much, man. Like, not only is it too much of a good thing can easily become a bad thing, but they like so much of it just looks the same. You know what I mean? It's just it all kind of meshes together where I'm like, it all looks kind of the same. I mean, if I really look closely, I know they're not, but I think there is some truth to what you're saying here, Josh. I'm going to be talking about a game soon, Josh, and I know you're in the RPGs. I'm going to be talking about a game soon that I was quite surprised by. You know, can't say, I got to be careful not to say any more than that, but we'll talk about it soon. Boss freaking boss like licked my arm, and I'm having like an allergic reaction. Bro, what's going on? Same feeling when you scroll a streaming service, so much cookie cutter garbage out there. The industry is stale. I mean, you do have to wonder, like, see, that's the thing, is like I say there's more options than ever before, but sometimes it almost feels like, is that maybe not the greatest thing in the world, though? Like, maybe there is something to be said for having less but more curated options. I mean, I do believe that too much of a good thing very quickly becomes a bad thing. Moderation. The industry needs to moderate, bro. But no matter what, there's always going to be winners and losers. I mean, this is why I'm just still thankful for. I mean, I know as cheesy as it sounds, but like, I'm still thankful at the idea of like, yeah, we are getting a Death Stranding sequel, and that it looks weird as hell, and I'm here for it. Like, we do need to see stuff like that, not just in the indie space, but like sometimes, yeah, letting certain developers be like, can we just can I just have a bunch of money to do something kind of weird? Can I do that? It's like, yeah, go ahead. And it'll be great weird. Lux, you're saying MBG says, quote, Expedition 33 is total garbage. Huh? No, Lux. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. I mean, I pretty much gave away what game I'm reviewing, but stay tuned, damn it. Unless I'm tricking you. Could I be tricking you right now? Could I be playing into it? Messing with your head? No, Yeah. I won't say anymore. Whiskey's like, you're not that clever. Or am I? No, Whiskey, you've been here a while. I think you're right. Or are you? I don't know. I don't know. I am slick. I am slick. You don't tell me. Muscle bound reverse psychology. You can't sell a lie. I've been setting you up this whole time for this one moment. King of Cypher, you're saying Xbox legitimately quit the console wars 8 years ago. The only ones fighting it are fanboys. Microsoft is busy accumulating a massive user base on Game Pass across PC, Xbox, and other areas. That's what I mean, dude. Like, this is why. It's like, trust me, there is an avenue I can take where it's like, let's keep this going. Like, I can force it. There are people who are willing to do that. And I see it on both sides, and I get it. Like, I'm not oblivious to the reality that, like, some people just kind of want to keep the ball in the air. You know what I mean? They want to keep it going, even though it's pretty much over, you know? I get it. But at this point in time, it is quite literally impossible for me to do that. Like, I saw people leaving comments are like, Microsoft's paying you off. You're a Microsoft employee now because Microsoft is like, hey, do you want to play some of these games? Do you want to try them out on your PlayStation? It's like, bro, what are we doing here? Like, I'm supposed to turn to a company who's offering legitimately like games that I actually am interested in. But again, the timing of it's funny. I get that. And just be like, no, bro, you suck. That would be kind of funny. But no, it's funny to me, dude. Like, you know what people don't know? Do you know what other Microsoft game I was given a free code for that I didn't play and didn't review? Sea of Thieves. That's the thing, man. Is like, people are like, you should play Oblivion. It's like, no, I don't, dude. I'm not just going to sit here and be like, suddenly all of Xbox's games are great because they're on PlayStation. No, it's not that simple. It's never been that way. It's just weird, man. I don't know. It's a weird moment in gaming, but the reality is Microsoft's still going to have duds, dude. I said dude. They're going to have duds that are due. They got to do the duds. The reality is Microsoft is still going to have some mediocre games that I'm not going to play. Or even just some good games that I'm not interested in. MVG, you said you wouldn't never play an Xbox game? Wait, am I reading that correctly, Money? I said that I wouldn't never play an Xbox game. That's worded very. If I'm reading that correctly, you are saying that I said that essentially I would play an Xbox game. Anyway, it's funny how, like, dude, I got somebody. I know that the double negatives at my brain. I had somebody coming at me the other day because I was letting everybody know, like, hey, shout out to Microsoft. They sent me a code for Forza Horizon 5 to kind of check out, review, and give it a shot. And this person was like kind of coming at me being like, MBG before Xbox games come to PlayStation, all your games suck and I don't want to play them. MBG after Xbox games come to PlayStation, I think I'll play these games now. And like, what pissed me off about that is it's like, dude, you can go back. Like, we in my most recent members lounge, we actually went back and found this, and I was watching it. I was watching one of my earlier videos from like 2018, and you know what game I was playing in the background? Forza Horizon 4 on my Xbox. And this is what's frustrating to deal with, where it's like, I tried to respond to this person and be like, you chose to listen to a vocal, obnoxious group of individuals on the internet that tried to tell you this is how MBG is or who he is. And they do this for other people too, where it's like, I'm going to only show you what I want to show you, and you're going to believe it, and you're going to assume that's all there is to know. And then they come to my channel and they say some nonsense, and I let them know, like, hey, just so you know, you were ill-informed by somebody who was probably talking about me in bad faith. What they probably didn't tell you is that I actually played Forza Horizon 4 on my Xbox, and I got every achievement, and I had a great time. What they probably won't tell you is that last year, I went to go subscribe to Game Pass. I found out I had a free month, and we played Hellblade 2. I played it on my PC, which I never do, because I really wanted to play that game. These are the things that they will not acknowledge or talk about, because it deconstructs the image that they need to keep alive, which is, no, dude, you're just the radical fanboy that hates Xbox games. It's like, no, I hated games like Crackdown 3. I hated, at least at launch, games like Sea of Thieves. I hated the fact that Xbox screwed up so badly with the Xbox One that it pretty much killed that generation, and they couldn't even recover with the Series X generation. These are the things that I was hard on Microsoft for. And people, do you guys remember when that game Bleeding Edge was announced? You guys remember that? And I was like going off on that game, being like, bro, Ninja Theory they release Hellblade, an incredible game, and their next follow-up is this? And I was like telling people, like, this game's gonna flop because nobody asked for this and nobody wants this. And I was right. And I was criticizing Microsoft for letting them do that. What am I doing to Sony right now? What was I doing with Concord? So I'm just saying, man, like, it does get frustrating that people want to manipulate and distort the truth for their own gain, and I don't expect any different, but I just find myself frequently disappointed with how many people are just genuinely that ill-informed and ignorant to the actual truth of things. We got Rich Rod, a member for 21 months. I don't know what I'm about to read. I don't know what I'm about to read, but what I am going to say is you owe me a couple memberships for this. It says, Xbox is king. I know you're watching. Yo mama stink and has butterscotch tendencies. Wait, tendency. Hold on. What is that? That's not. You ugly. Vote Rich Rod for mod. MB gangsta stand up butterscotch. Like, I mean, Rich, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Not towards Xbox. Like, I don't have anything personal against Xbox is king. Right? I just mean your philosophy. Maybe it is right at this point. Because you know what? You try to be reasonable in unreasonable times, and what do you get? What do you get? Get spat on. You get treated like dirt, bro. So yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's some truth here to the philosophy. You get the truth. Boss, relax, man. Boss is getting all hyped up now. He's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Are we eating some treats? Like, no, dude, chill. I remember you saying the basketball games wouldn't even sell well on PlayStation. You got a lot of explaining to do. Or then you said, wait, Xbox. Oh man, you're gonna have to tell me what you're talking about because I don't. NBA Jam Classic from downtown. Brick. Okay, Hanzo, calm down, bro. Hanzo's he's doing it again. You read that like a Chuck Norris joke. Anyway, I don't know. I don't mean to like go on a little rant again there needlessly, but it's just, I encounter so many people where the reality for them is just, there is no winning. It can only be one way. And I don't know. I just it is frustrating to see that so much of this has just whittled down to that where it's like, all right, I mean, I guess if that's how it's got to be. How's Phantom Blade Zero? Have not played that game yet. What do we have to will into existence? Carl says PlayStation for life, bro. PlayStation for life. I said that I wouldn't play an Xbox game even if they brought it over for free. Well, dude, you're going to have to be more specific about that because I have a difficult time believing I said that blanket statement. If I did, I'll own it, but I don't think I would have said that as a blanket statement. It had to have been for a specific game or a certain subsect of games. Cuz I've never here's why I say that, Money. Every year since I moved over to PlayStation and played on PlayStation, I've always tuned into the Xbox shows. And the reason for that is because there's always this hope that they're going to show something that I actually want to play. Or there are games that we know are coming, like State of Decay 3 and whatnot, that I'm like, I want to see more of this. You're saying it was in a stream, you were there? You seen it? I mean, I've had some crazy moments, so I'm not going to sit here and say that there's no possible way I said that. I'll be honest, man. I've said so much stuff that, like, if you tell me I said it, it's like, yeah, maybe. I've talked, like, enough for, like, 3 lifetimes, so it might be true. But, but I don't know, man. I have to imagine if I did say that, like, if I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt and there is truth to this, I have to imagine if I said that, I must have been pretty pissed off at Microsoft for something. Because it's just like, dude, I played Horizon, I played Hellblade, like there are literally Xbox games that I have enjoyed. So I don't know if it was one of those things where it was just like, I'm like, fuck Microsoft, like I'm never supporting them again. And I was just like pissed off with them or something. It's possible. I've been pissed with Microsoft many times. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to hold on to that now though. And like, it's not because it's like, oh, they're giving you a code. It's like, no, it's hard to hold on to that because it's like, they're just literally selling their games on. They're selling their games on our console now. Like I don't. How do I stay mad? The most I could be is indifferent. Like that's the absolute most I could be. Relax, bro. Microsoft made Crackdown 3 unforgivable error. Microsoft remains unforgiven. People's minds change. Get over it. Y'all play what you want, where you want. MBG, you played Indiana Jones and still Xbot refugees or not? Bro said Xbot refugees. Xbot refugees are not happy. I hate to say that I told you these guys are clowns, but I told you. No, you're right. Like those people, I don't know who they are specifically, but they are. I've ran into them. They are clowns. Fuck those guys. The ones that are just like, you're not allowed to enjoy an Xbox game. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, isn't this where we were supposed to? Isn't this the end game ultimately? Like, MBG, what was your greatest desire? I want Xbox to be great again. I want them to make great games again. And it took like maybe over a decade, but it's like check out this Indiana Jones game. It's pretty great, right? It's like, wasn't that made by Machine Games? Yeah, but we own them now. It's like, oh, okay. You own them. That's true. Concord now trumps Crackdown. Well, hold on, though. Hold on. We got Concord. That's true. That's pretty bad. Concord's really bad. Concord's so bad that it's almost like I think people actually erased it from their minds. If Sony could erase it from your mind, they would. But it's more like, so you got Concord up against both Crackdown 3 and Redfall, though. So, like, this Crackdown 3 and Redfall combined, is that enough to... I don't know what the hardcore Xbox players want from the so-called ponies to hate PlayStation and love Xbox or stop playing games in general. I mean, hold on. Boss, you're going to knock that out. Get down. Get down. Okay. Careful. Let me get you out of here. Let me get you out. God, you bad boss. It's boss's stream now. He's being bad, dude. I had to just save my entire... He almost knocked down my entire setup, dude. I just had to get up and untangle him from like 4 cords. I don't know what he's like. Yeah, Leia isn't there anymore. Go. 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 Be gone. Be gone. MBG setup collapses on camera. That was legitimately about to happen. That was about to happen. It was about to be real bad. The wreck was about to go down. Piper, you're saying Redfall was so-so? I think it might be pushing it. It might be pushing it. Yeah, I mean, listen, dude. I do have Xbox players here on the channel, like who play primarily either on Xbox or Game Pass or whatever, and they're pretty reasonable, you know, and that's cool. I appreciate that. It's just I find it surprising that I still run into people that are very much like not reasonable. And to be fair, I see that on the PlayStation side of things too, and I just start to get really tired. I mean, truly like tired of the really like hardcore fanboy stuff where it's like, if it depends on if you're being serious about it, like it's actually done in earnest, it's like, okay, come on. We got to be beyond that now. If it's satire, that's fine. I get that. It's kind of funny. But I don't know, man. People need to try to be careful not to lose sight of, at the end of the day, dude, like, regardless of where your allegiance lie, whether that be console, PC, a specific console brand or whatever, it's about the games first and foremost. It always has been, it always will be, where every publisher has made good and bad video games. Every publisher has made great games. Every publisher has had train wrecks. You know, it's not exclusive to any one publisher. You could make the argument that some publishers' track records are worse than others or better than others, and there's definitely interesting discourse to be had there about something like that. But I don't know, man. I'm just at this point where, like, I don't understand why anybody would tell me, like, hey, listen, when you go into that Xbox showcase this year, don't be excited. Don't care. It's like, but what do you mean? Why not? It's like, because you hate Xbox. It's like, no, I've had major problems with Xbox. You know what the most gaslighting thing is I've seen from people. Shh, William. We're not supposed to talk about that yet, William. Stay tuned, bro. Stay tuned for that one. It's hard. I'm counting the days down. Counting the days down. Anyway, MBG, don't you dare cheer for Xbox now. Don't do it. No, it's not about cheering Xbox on, dude. It's about like, all right, let me get this cat off me first, because Jesus, boss, God, this cat. Silent Poet, really quick. He says, F Xbox, to me, it's ND versus SMS, SP versus GG, HM versus TA. What did you even just say? Silent Poet, what did you even you just typed letters, bro. You just typed letters. I'm just kidding. I think you said, hold on, my son's outside. He's very upset for some reason. See what you did, Silent Poet? You upset my son. This is your fault, bro. Xbox must die. No. I think you're saying Naughty Dog versus Santa Monica, Sucker Punch versus Guerrilla Games, and why can't I figure out what HM versus Housemark versus what the hell is TA? Wait, why can't I why I'm like blanking TA? I feel like it's something super obvious and I'm missing it. Team is okay. You know what? All right, I don't blame myself for not getting that. I've never abbreviated Team Asobi ever. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying there. You're talking about Sony studios kind of competing with one another. Yeah, absolutely, man. That to me is one of the most critical aspects of PlayStation, that if that internal competition were to cease between their studios, not like aggressive competition, but just, seeing them kind of always push each other to the next level, I think that would make PlayStation Studios much more underwhelming. But there's just one thing I wanted to mention here, that this is like my big problem with some people, not most of you guys. In fact, the overwhelming majority of you that I see here, you don't present it like this, but I do encounter people that present it this way, and it's very frustrating. And it might be the most disingenuous thing that is done in an attempt to make it seem like, MBG, you used to hate Xbox, now you love Xbox, and the only reason you love Xbox is because they're bringing their games to your console. And that's the big red flag there, is like, so what happened in between? Hold on though. What happened in between? Can you tell me the difference between the time that I absolutely despised Xbox and completely turned against them versus where they are now? What's the biggest difference that you can identify? Because I know what it is, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys know what it is. I'm gonna give a moment. I'm gonna give a moment for the chat to speak. Garbage juice. Garbo juice. Why is this a trick question? They aren't making Crackdown 4. Thank you, B Flesher. Thank you. The biggest thing that changed between the time that Xbox, like, really, I would say, shit the bed, starting in like 2017, going into like 2019 and 2020, and now, is they bought two of the biggest publishers in the industry with the most IP of like almost any other publisher. And people try to pretend that like that didn't happen. And that's, to me, that's the biggest gaslight that is thrown my way. where it's like I've had so many conversations previously where it's like, hey, Bethesda's being purchased, and there's this kind of concern, like, uh-oh, are they going to go exclusive? And I said so many times that, like, well, Bethesda is not my favorite publisher, and they're still not. Not much has changed. Where they're a publisher that I have played some games from, but the really big games that Bethesda's known for, I kind of never cared for at all, actually. So there was this kind of like, well, it depends on what games we're talking about. So I went on record numerous times saying, hey, if they make an Evil Within 3 and that's Xbox exclusive, I'll be there. And then we found out they were making a Blade game. And when we found that out, I'm like, dude, if that's exclusive, yeah, I'll be there. But it seems like it's not going to be. But if it is, I'll be there. And these are things that I stated. And I just feel as though for the few people that are still kind of trying to find ways to dismantle what they're seeing right now on the channel or with me, it's like if you are getting upset at what you're seeing, it's because you were never paying attention. It's because you were never paying attention. It's because you got your information on me, or your presumptions of me come from somebody else, not me, and what I'm actually saying and doing, what I've been saying and doing. Rich Rod 908 says with the $2 chat, Xbox is king. You're ugly and a sucker. Kojima, traitor, just confirmed. Phil Spencer has a limp stick, and you and Colt are the only ones who give it strength. Barf. Boss, please, somebody help. Somebody. I can't believe he's looking at me like that. Like, dude, no. Don't encourage him. Why are you looking at it like that? Like, that was good. It's not good. Rich Rod's starting up again. You just think I say a lot, and sometimes I get tripped up on my words. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that I've said things previously that have absolutely been used against me and can be used against me. There's no doubt about that. But there are some things that I do very distinctly making a clear stance on that I just don't appreciate that some people completely, like, they still try to attack me or come at me and ignore that. That is frustrating, where it's like, I don't like people making it seem like I have something that I have to explain or prove. It's like, I don't have to explain shit, and I don't have to prove shit. Doesn't mean you're any less annoying, but the reality is the people who are freaking out, the few people that are freaking out being like, I can't believe they're playing Xbox games. I thought they didn't like Xbox games, or I thought they didn't care. They're the same people that I fucking promise you, if the roles were reversed and Sony was bringing some of their games to Xbox, they'd be there day one. For not all of them, but some of them. Because it's like, yeah, it turns out you guys just like good video games too. Who would have thought? It's not a crazy concept. But yeah, I did say recently that I am interested to see what other games that Microsoft has for the second half of 2025 that are going to be coming to PS5, because outside of Forza, like, people, you guys were asking me at the beginning of the stream, like, play Oblivion. It's like, I got to be just totally honest. Like, I'm not playing that game, guys. I'm not playing Oblivion. Like, you can't make me do it. Well, I don't know if if the price is right, maybe you could, but no. I mean, like, that is a situation where, like, if you could give me that game for free and I really don't want to play it. It's no offense to the game. It's no offense to anybody excited for that game. It's just, I don't like Bethesda's RPGs. I don't play those games. I've tried, and I just couldn't do it. That's not going to change with a prettier version, I mean, if Microsoft paid me $10K, yeah, I'll play that shit. Absolutely, I'll play that. I'll play that whole game. But that's not going to happen, nor should it. So, Microsoft, how much you willing to pay me to play Oblivion? No, but that's that's not applicable to every game, right? Like, that's why I'm saying I'm very curious to see what other Microsoft games are coming in the second half of this year. Because for all I know, every other Microsoft game that's coming in the second half of this year, I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not interested. It's, I mean, Microsoft has so many IP now, so many studios that, like, yeah, there's absolutely going to be titles that I'm just not interested in. You're waiting for Astrobot on PC. I feel like that's one that's not going to go to PC. I could be wrong, but not entirely sure. 10K still a no for me. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. We have Rich Rod with another Rich Rod. God damn it! Donate some memberships. I appreciate your $2 donos, but the stuff you're making me freaking read here, you drop some memberships. Rich Rod with the $2 chat says Xbox's King and Colt confirmed caught getting married at WrestleMania in John Cena's locker. I'll get boss to scratch both of you of your butterscotch balls. You ugly. I'm at a loss for words, bro. MBG, how much money for you to play Legend of Dragoon? Doesn't have to be the full game, but a few hours on stream. I guess I would have to play that on PC. Geez, I don't know. He is out of pocket again. Not 100K. No, I could make it something reasonable. Oh, it is on PS5. Is it? Oh, yeah, you're right. Can you buy it a la carte, or is that only through PlayStation Plus Premium? Yeah, it would be in the classics. You could buy it alone, right? Oh, you could buy it. Shit, man. I don't know. I might take because there's something you said. I can't say what it is. William, you know what you said earlier. There's something you said that caught my attention that I'm like, huh. I don't know. Maybe like I don't know, Mike or William, how much are you willing to drop to make this happen? I'm gonna bleed you dry, William. No, but I'll think about it. I've heard people talk about this game for so many years. Let me see. This is a JRPG. How long is this game? How long does it take to complete The Legend of Dragoon? I mean, you said I wouldn't have to beat it, but JRPGs are daunting, dude. They're always intimidating. Rich Rod's still fighting for that mod ship. Rich Rod, you like, I thought Gaming Survivor was who I had to worry about, bro. You're the crazy one. I play or try games for fun. MBG equals play games for money. Well, there are many games that I go out of my way to play just for fun, but there are also games that I won't lie. Like, if there's not some kind of like incentive, the chances of me naturally, organically ever just picking it up and trying it, I'm just stubborn that way. That's all. I'm stubborn that way. There have been times though where I have taken people's suggestions like randomly, where I'm like, okay, I guess I'll try this game, and sometimes it hasn't worked out. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not feeling it. But other times it has, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, yeah, I see where people are coming from. You give me 50 to finish Final Fantasy. Oh, what, you talking about Rebirth? Yeah, I got to get on that at some point. I should have just stuck with it, dude. I was like halfway through when I don't know. There were too many games coming up. I love Rich Roddy makes me look completely reasonable. Luna, stop that. $50 for at least 3 hours. You don't need to beat the game. It was 4 discs long. Wow, it was a 4-disc game, bro. Oh my god. Final Fantasy VII was 3 discs. The combat system is where you press a button, a time prompt, it becomes a combo. Hold on. Luna. I don't know. I don't know, William. I feel like that opens a slippery. It creates a slippery slope. You know. Don't fight. It creates a slippery slope where it's like $50 an hour, William. No, it creates a slippery slope where like I don't know, man. I don't want to. The whole idea is I want things to just be as natural and organic as possible, and that's why I told you guys like when it comes to me trying to like take on some codes that I'm being offered, trying to maybe review some games, like you know, in a traditional review cycle, like you know, ahead of its actual release. I'm experimenting. I don't know that this is something I'm going to stick to because if for anybody who's been following me for an extended period of time, you know that I've always tried to just keep things as organic as I can on the channel where it's like there are many different opportunities like for me to I can pretty much justify anything, right? Where like this is my job, so I could do anything, right? Like I could buy Oblivion remake as soon as it drops and do a stream on it because it's for the channel and I can do that, right? And I want to get on that hype train or whatever. Like that's justified because I can treat this as just a job, right? But I've always been very hesitant to do that because it's like I don't know. I feel like there's just something inherently better about like I think people would rather know like what I actually really gravitate towards. Like what really because the things that really hit for me, they hit. But at the same time, I also understand with that comes a bit of stubbornness and unwillingness. And I get that. And that's why I always talk about like I want to broaden my horizons, but then I get real hesitant to do so because I'm like, well, how much do I really want to do that versus how much am I trying to like umbrella that under, well, you know, I got to run the channel. Got to find that healthy blend. Um, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. A lot of people have recommended a game like The Legend of Dragoon. You really think I would like its combat? Every character has their own combos. You think people would notice that you're not enjoying the game and only playing for views? Yeah, that's the struggle, right? Like, I don't, not even a struggle, but just there is always kind of that line of, you know, your willingness to try a game and then you kind of realize I'm just not actually really enjoying it, right? Versus you kind of maybe knew that from the onset that you weren't going to enjoy it. But, you know, there is always something to be said for your willingness to try a game. And, I always feel, you know, they're legitimately like people have offered me money, like, bro, try this game. I'll fucking pay you to play this game. And you got to try it. And I've always felt a little awkward with that because it's like, it's a nice notion. Like, I get it. Like, the dream of being paid to play games, right? But there's always like this man. I don't know. It's like it's the idea of like getting a review code for a game that I know I'm not interested in playing. Like the chances of me being like, wow, I really actually enjoyed that game, even though I had no interest. I wasn't even paying attention to it to begin with. Like I had no interest in playing it myself. It creates a bit of a dichotomy there, you know. Yeah, William, the way you're describing it, stay tuned, man, because I think I think you'll see what I'm talking about coming up. I have some thoughts, not on the game you're talking about, but on something else. It's very interesting the way you're describing it. Whiskey Gaming says I know what I like and what I don't. I won't waste money on a game that I know I won't like. If it's free or really cheap, it's a little different. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the thing. If the barrier to entry is minimal or just non-existent, it does just naturally make you more willing to try. But But yeah, at the same time, even then, like you see people say like, I won't play that even if it's free. Oh, you can see. Like, I won't play that even if it's free. And I feel like that is truly just, that comes down to just knowing what you do and do not like. Having that understanding. See Luna. Easy there. Don't. Did you guys know she was there? Why is her mouth open? Veilguard was free and I had no inclination to touch it. That's what I mean. You know? Whoa, 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 whoa. You know what? With that being said, though, guys, I think we're going to wrap up today's stream because I just realized we crossed the 2 hour mark, and yeah, no, it's a pretty relaxed stream today. Not a whole lot going on. I think everybody's kind of anticipating that Oblivion drop tomorrow. I got games to play, man. I got games to play. I would be maybe streaming some of them, but I don't think I can. Happy Easter to you as well, William. And I think we got another direct donation from Moonshot. Actually, I'll stick around for a couple more minutes because Moonshot. I don't know if you're doing more than one direct donation, but I want to make sure to read these. He says here, MBG, I honestly don't care if it's a showcase or a state of play anymore. The showcases have been not good and the state of plays have been better, so I don't care. I mean, I'm open to that too, right? Like I'm open to the idea of let's just do a really good state of play or just a good, it doesn't have to be really good, but just a good state of play. A massive showcase would be awesome, but I just don't know that. Yeah, I'm not convinced, right? Like I'm not convinced that they're going to put together that kind of massive, like we're going to bring down the house type showcase. You're saying you just got one okay. Just wanted to make sure. I'm open for just a really good state of play as well. There's like we saw that state of play in February. I think it was February, right? And I saw that there were people who were like very dissatisfied with it, but I'm like, I really enjoyed it. Like I thought it was a very good state of play, and I was quite surprised to see how many people were just like very seemingly distraught or upset or mad. And I'm like, I don't get it. Like it was 40 minutes, a lot of new game reveals, a lot of big game reveals, ending with a new PlayStation Studio title from one of my favorite studios. Like I'm not sure what there is to be so upset about or mad about. So it's like, yeah, I would take another one of those. But yeah, a big showcase would be even better. And I guess we'll find out, man. We're almost in May. So we're going to find out. MBG, what you're saying is the reason why Xbox Game Pass is so valuable. You can try many games out before you buy them. Well, yeah, for sure. I've said that multiple times, man. That like the beauty of these subscription services is even if you just subscribe for 1 month, it's a lot of shit you can try. You know, and for somebody who's not sure where to, what games are worth buying and what games aren't, that's a good alternative. Probably find something you like, right? Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today's stream. Please enjoy the rest of your Monday. I did put out a news video. You can go check that out. And also want to give a thank you to everybody who dropped any support today. I can only do what I do here because you guys, fund the channel and you guys are the sponsors. Also want to give a shout out to Devil Shooter who does the timestamps for the stream. So if you guys see him in the comments, show him some love, give him some thanks. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up. So guys, I will catch you tomorrow in the next one. Until then, take care.